Okay, so the halo effect. The halo effect is predominantly based around who we perceive as attractive. It's a big problem, the halo effect, and it's really not going away. It's a major problem in universities and colleges, whereby professors typically give higher marks to those students who they perceive as attractive. Unfortunately, this has been proven again and again in lots of studies, and how we can see this is when we get other professors to mark the same papers who don't know the particular students. The reason is, if we think someone's attractive, we think everything about them is much better, we think they're more intelligent, we think they know what they're doing. We effectively see a halo around them. Now, this has been used in advertising for decades. Obviously, an attractive woman or an attractive man selling a product is apparently going to lead to greater sales, and it appears that it still does. There was a very interesting, a couple of years ago, a bank in South Africa was offering a mortgage product, and they offered the same two different types of product. One which was much more expensive, so the second product was much more expensive than the first product, and it didn't really make sense for anyone to rationally look at it. But the second product was advertised with a pretty lady on the billboards and on the adverts in the magazines. The first product, which was the much cheaper product, was advertised with numbers, literally just the bare facts. Now, a rational decision maker would look at the second one, look behind the picture to the actual numbers, and realise it was very expensive, and they'd go for the first one. But in actual fact, the opposite happened. The vast majority of borrowers wanted to go, regardless of what the bank is even advising them, wanted to go for product number 2. Because of the halo effect, there was an attractive lady who looked intelligent on an advert, and if she'd made the decision to go for that product, then it must be the best product. Another example of nudging, and actually an example of where nudging can fail once people become aware of it, is eyeline products in supermarkets. Now, we all know that supermarkets put sweets at the till, and the reason that they do this is because, obviously, kids pester mums and dads to buy the sweets. And supermarkets have done this for decades, but most of us know about this tactic, and therefore most of us are prepared for it. And in my case, we just say, no, it's not going to happen, and after the first couple of times, it doesn't happen anymore. But for those people who aren't aware of it, it is a nudge. But for those that are aware of it, it's not. Now, what a lot of people still don't realise is that in the supermarket aisles, the eyeline products are generally the ones with the biggest margin. So you might have the cheap, essential brands on the bottom shelf. You might have the more expensive, exclusive brands on the top shelf. And you might have what you'd call the regular brands on eyeline, on most people's eyeline. And obviously people's eyelines differ. So you've got to crouch down to get the basic one. You've got to reach up to get the most expensive one. But the one in the middle, we're going back to the Goldilocks effect here, which was discussed earlier, is the one with the biggest margin. So supermarkets use lots of different nudges and lots of different behavioural economics techniques to get people to, one, buy things with the biggest profit margin, organic vegetables that I talked about in a previous talk, or those with the biggest margin because where they're placing them on the shelves. I mean, obviously they use other tricks like rearranging the supermarket every 6 months, which is incredibly irritating. But obviously it gets you to pass products that you wouldn't normally pass and perhaps buy new products. So what we can do is negate nudging through knowledge and rules. So we know that those sweets are at the counter to tempt our children, and we set up some rules to deal with them. We might even preempt our children and say, look, if we come shopping with us and if you're really good, then later you can have an ice cream or whatever it might be, or later we'll go to the play park. So if we're aware of the nudges, that helps. But if we have rules to deal with them, that helps. Particularly if they're nudging us towards behaviour that we do not want, like buying sweets and chocolates.